Legally, Chinese constitution enshrines religious freedom, but in China, religions are all regulated in a way to minimize foreign influence. Any event or groups outside of the state-regulated system is considered illegal, although the actual law enforcement is a different issue, and it usually varies between regions and religions. Religions that are more localized, like Buddhism and Taoism, are usually considered less sensitive. And actually, in some cases, their temples became huge tourist attractions and a major source of government revenue. For Christians, all religious groups have to follow the so-called three self principles. That is self-governance, self-support, and self-propagation. House churches outside of the system fall within a gray area, and especially if they attract a large following. For Catholics, underground churches used to be a big problem before Beijing signed the 2018 deal with the Vatican, which still has official ties with Taipei instead of Beijing. And now they can have bishops recognized by both sides. Unapproved activities like the teaching of Qurans outside of the state-approved system in the Muslim community is something that the state takes very seriously as a potential source of religious extremism. The term of Sinicization really became a national policy in 2015 when President Xi started openly using the slogan, and that it reappeared in policy documents afterwards. And except for Taoism, which is homegrown, most religions are from outside of China. So to achieve Sinicization, policymakers tend to play up or emphasize the elements in each religion that is best integrated with the Chinese culture and traditions, as well as placing more scrutiny over religious groups' interaction with overseas parties. Religious scholars in China would love to refer to the example of Zen Buddhism, which before it was a big thing in Japan and later Hollywood, really became the dominant school of Buddhism in China first. It's also considered very well integrated with Confucianism. So with other religions, they tend to play up those elements with Chinese characteristics as well. Priests and imams in the state-led system are expected and encouraged to find common ground between values Beijing seeks to promote from the Bible and the Quran. Some are more mundane, integrity, love for your family, etc. Others are more political, like patriotism. And in some cases, especially with mosques, that would unfortunately involve modifying the domes of the mosques, which used to look a lot like those in the Middle East, and turning them into a Chinese roof, which is indeed how some mosques have looked like in the past centuries, like those in Niujie in Beijing. The issue, I understand, is mostly a national unity and a national security one, to fend off allegiance outside of China. And in the eyes of policymakers in Beijing, usually the better localized a religion is, that is within the state-regulated system, the less tensions there will be between the religious groups and the mainstream society and the government. The hard lessons are what they say are religious extremism that caused years of violent attacks in Xinjiang, which they believe is linked to Al-Qaeda and later the Islamic State. Even for Buddhism, if monks have allegiance towards a certain exiled religious figure, that could also be politically thorny. Well, not to mention, religion could also be a major player in times of great power competition, when Pope John Paul II visited his home country, Poland, in 1979, which was still in the Eastern Bloc. It was seen as a strong moral support to the pro-democracy movement, solidarity, which the Poles call Solidarność. His teaching, the Catholic faith, remained a very central theme of that movement, which finally won a landslide victory in Poland's first partially free election on the eventful day of June 4, 1989.